God can do. So I know you're asking God how. Don't ask God how. Ask what? Instead of to ask God how. Ask what? How God. It is how God that will make a man dust his Bible few hours after his wife is dead and say, I stand declaring this eternal counsel to the ends of the earth. A man can be tired, hungry, and sleepy and say that I will still appear before the corridors of prayer. I will still declare this solemn praise before God. I will still chant in the night. Why? How God. The psalmist says, forget not his benefits. You cannot serve God if you forget. You see, whoever stands before you holding a microphone and tells you he doesn't have a problem is a comedian. So men don't show up because they are short of problems. Men show up because they trust in God beyond their problems. The superimposition of God's reality over your circumstance, it was build faith. So, sir, I do not fear what the future holds. Why? Because I know who holds the future. Are you with me? So when next you read Acts 10:13, don't be in a hurry to go to how God anointed. No. How God. Carry your pen. Sit in the quietness of your hostel. Sit in your sanctuary where you pray. Spread yourself before the Lord. Sometimes take off your shirt before guys and just allow the breeze to remind you. 2 years, 2020, I was releasing my Facebook and I needed to write my speech because I had journeyed 8 years before that book on the path of purpose. My dad asked me that morning because I was in the family house that day. He said, the day before, I said, have I written my speech? I said, no. He said, why? I said, there's a threshold of pain I want to enter to write that speech. So I took off my shirt, bare-bodied, and lay on cold tile. It was July. 3rd of July. I can't forget. Cold tile. As I lay down there, tears began to roll out of my eyes. And I remembered the days where I would trek. I used to raise barbed wire to go and speak. See, I was chauffeur driven to your school to come and speak. Which day? I used to raise barbed wire, do one leg like this to be able to enter. And tears began to roll down my eyes. And I started writing that speech. How that my life was a picture of possibilities. A man who cannot think, like Bishop Abioye would say, cannot think. So there is a threshold of deep thinking of the mercies of God, of his manifold benefits that positions you enough to be able to operate in the realm of gratitude. Instead of asking God how, what should you be asking? That means your functionality in the divine vineyard is not a subject of your condition. You see, because the Bible is a book that eliminates excuses. If you think you have suffered, go read the book of Job. If you think you have seen Shege, go read the book of Daniel. If you think village people gang up against you, go read that Stephen was stoned to death by conspiracy. Are you with me? So what I'm calling us into within the few minutes I have is that I am fully persuaded. I'm not familiar with that passage. That's what I'm dragging into. That I am fully persuaded that if I'm holding this mic now and I don't have food to eat, it does not deter my energy in declaring the counsel of God, because God is too faithful already that I cannot question his faithfulness. You see, there is no logical computation of the worth of a life. You're being alive. There is no logical measurement to equal it. I mean, you cannot afford it. Hello, let me even say better. Your current bank account cannot afford it. Your previous bank account cannot afford it. Your future bank account cannot afford it. Do you know why I know? 300,000 naira minimum per hour. Can you afford it? That's life support. Minimum. It's higher than that. I'm just giving the barest minimum. Life support. So let's not count the other benefits. Let's just count basic life. Do you know that your current complaint is somebody's prayer point? School na scam. School na scam. I've heard that for. They are privileged ingrates. If at this stage of your life you have not gotten admission, it's a different prayer point. By now you would have held one pillar somewhere. Do you understand that? How God? What I'm calling you is a search. Is to sit down and say, I will sing of the mercies of the Lord. When I signed out of this college, I schooled there. I graduated a couple of years now. Feels good to say that. Like 4 or 5 years. Yeah. If it's easy, try them. I'm joking. You know? They asked me, because somebody printed my shirt for me. He asked me, what should I write on your shirt? I said, simply helped. So if you look at the front of my sign-out shirt, it's simply helped. The back, uncommon. Simply helped. That simply helped has tears and cry and many weepings in it. But when I sat back to bring into full understanding what it was, the summation was that I am simply helped by God. Have you ever reached a point in your life where you say, but for God? If not for God. How many of us have had 40 before? Now there's but for God. That's but for God. Yes, your juniors will know your shine. If you do what I'm telling you to do, you will love God afresh. You will see that God does not owe you anything. I think it was Job that was speaking. He says, is it anything to God that you are righteous? You know, sometimes we used to look at that shit. You know, when I'm holy now, I'm doing God a favor. Job cleared us. He said, it is nothing to God that you are righteous. Do you know your righteousness does not benefit God? Do you know the only component of our service that goes to heaven is worship? Beneficiary. Prayer is still intercession, is still petitions. Word is for your edification. Entertainment and the other ones are for crowd effect and sweet service. So nothing about you benefits God. God does not need you to be God. Do you understand me? Among all the dimensions of God, the holiness dimension of God separates him onto a class of his own. The Latin call it sui generis, a class of your own. One nature of that kind of person is called sovereignty. The sovereignty of God makes God able to do and undo, and you can do nothing. Let me explain. You have an elder brother. Let me use somebody. What's your name? You've been really. What's your name? What's your name? Dorcas. You have an elder brother. Perfect person. So your mom cooks. Those African contests where they cook and they serve the food for everybody. So everybody has his own portion. Your plate is plate yellow. The other person is yellow, plate blue. So if plate blue is missing, it means they'll eat your food. You understand that? So your brother comes, eats your food, eats his own food, eats your food, and then you complain he beats you on top. That's the sovereignty of God. And tells you that you can do nothing. Do you know God can do and undo and we can do nothing? That's why the sovereignty of God exempts us from something. We can ask God questions, but we cannot question God's authority. So you cannot ask God, God, why? God, how? What am I telling you to do instead? Ask him, say what? How, God. So rather than focus on what God hasn't done, you can focus on the things he has done.